Hey everyone, I hope you guys had a great weekend. I'm excited to be back and reading with you today. Grace is playing and watching Sesame Street in the background, so hopefully her show is not too distracting. Miss Duncan has a confession. This morning we found out that we will not be going back to school for the rest of the school year, and Miss Duncan cried. Don't tell anyone, that's a secret. I'm very sad because I miss you guys. I was so excited to be back in the classroom with you guys, and I'm just really upset that we're not going to get to finish third grade in the same classroom. But that will not stop me from reading here on YouTube with you guys. Just so we can kind of hang out a little bit each day at least. And I definitely want to finish the one and only Ivan because so far I love it, and I hope that you guys do too. So today we're actually going to read up until page 100. There are 300 pages in the one and only Ivan. So after we read today, we will be 1/3 done with the book. And I put a little quiz in our Google Classroom so that you guys can go on and just check for understanding, see how well you understand that first third of the book. And that's kind of it for today. I hope you guys were able to do the science experiment on Friday, or at least you're gonna try it sometime soon, or you at least thought it was cool to watch. Any of the above. Maybe you just think Miss Duncan's crazy, which is probably true too. So, without further ado, let's get started. Remember, on Friday, we got to meet Ruby, our brand new elephant character. And there were some mixed feelings, right? Mac was really excited to get a new elephant. He thinks it's gonna bring some more business to the mall and their circus. Stella wasn't so excited. She kind of feels bad that there's another elephant coming, right? And Ivan's kind of just trying to understand all of it. He's kind of in the middle almost. So today we are going to start with this section called Art Lesson. Ruby asks a lot of questions. She says, Ivan, why is your tummy so big? And have you ever seen a green giraffe? And can you get me one of those pink clouds that the humans are eating? When Ruby asks, what is that on your wall? I explain that it's a jungle. She says the flowers have no scent, and the waterfall has no water, and the trees have no roots. I am aware of that, I say. It's art, a picture I made with paint. Do you know how to make art, Ruby asks. Yes, I do, I say, and I puff up my chest just a little. I've always been an artist. I love drawing. Why do you love it, Ruby asks. I pause. I've never talked to anyone about this before. When I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. Ruby frowns. Quiet is boring. Not always. Ruby scratches the back of her neck with her trunk. What do you draw anyway? Bananas mostly. Things in my domain. My drawings sell at the gift store for $25 a piece with a frame. What's a frame? Ruby asks. What's $1? What's a gift store? I close my eyes. I'm a little sleepy, Ruby. Have you ever driven a truck? Ruby asks. I don't answer. Ivan, Ruby asks. Can Bob fly? A memory flashes past, surprising me. I think of my father snoring peacefully under the sun while I try every trick I know to wake him. Perhaps, I realize, he wasn't really such a sound sleeper after all. How's that foot, old girl? George asks Stella. Stella pokes her trunk between the bars. She inspects George's right shirt pocket for the treat he brings her every night without fail. George doesn't always bring me treats. Stella is his favorite, but I don't mind. She's my favorite too. Stella sees that George's pocket is empty. She gives George a frustrated nudge with her trunk, and Julia giggles. Stella moves to George's left pocket and discovers a carrot. Nimbly, she removes it. Mac walks past. Toilet's plugged up in the men's bathroom, he says. Big mess. I'll take care of it, George sighs. Mac turns to leave. Before you go, Mac, George says, you might want to take a look at Stella's foot. I think it's infected again. Darn thing never does heal up right, Mac rubs his eyes. I'll keep an eye on it. Money's tight, though. Can't be calling the vet every time she sneezes. George strokes Stella's trunk. She inspects his pockets one more time, just in case. Sorry, girl, George says as he watches Mac walk away. Ivan? Bob? I blink. The dawn sky is a smudge of gray flecked with pink, like a picture drawn with 2 crayons. I can just make out Ruby in the shadows, waving hello with her trunk. Are you awake? Ruby asks. We are now, says Bob. Aunt Stella's still asleep, and I don't want to wake her because she said her foot was hurting, but I'm really, Ruby pauses for a breath, really bored. Bob opens one eye. You know what I do when I'm bored? What? Ruby asks eagerly. Bob closes his eye. I sleep. It's a little early, Ruby, I say. I'm used to getting up early. Ruby wraps her trunk around one of the bars on her door. At my old circus, we always got up when it was still dark, and then we had breakfast and we walked in a circle, and then they chained my feet up, and that really hurt. Ruby falls silent. Instantly, Bob is snoring. Ivan, Ruby asks, do you know any jokes? I especially like jokes about elephants. Well, let me see. I heard Mac tell one once. I yawn. How can you tell that an elephant has been in the refrigerator? How? By the footprints in the butter? Ruby doesn't react. I sit up on my elbows, trying not to disturb Bob. Get it? What's a refrigerator? Ruby asks. It's a human thing, a cold box with a door. They put food inside. They put food in the door? Or food in the box? And is it a big box, Ruby asks, or a little box? I can see this is going to take a while, so I sit all the way up. Bob slides off, grumbling. I reach for my pencil, the one I snapped in half with my teeth. Here, I say, I'll draw you a picture of one. In the dim light, it takes me a minute to find a piece of paper that Julia gave me. The page is a little damp and has a smear of something orange on it. I think it's from a tangerine. I try my best to make a refrigerator. The broken pencil is not cooperating, but I do what I can. By the time I'm done, the first streaks of morning sun have appeared in flashy cartoon colors. I hold up my picture for Ruby to see. She studies it intently. Her head turns so that one black eye is trained on my drawing. Wow, you made that? Is this the thing you were telling me about before? Art? Sure is. I can draw all kinds of things. I'm especially good at fruit. Could you draw a banana right now? Ruby asks. Absolutely. I turn the paper over and sketch. Wow, Ruby says again in an odd voice when I hold up the page. It looks good enough to eat. She makes a happy, littling sound, an elephant laugh. It's like the song of a bird I recall from long ago, a tiny yellow bird with a voice like dancing water. Strange, I'd forgotten all about that bird, how she'd wake me up every morning at dawn when I was still curled safely in my mother's nest. It's a good feeling, making Ruby laugh. So I draw another picture and another along the edges of the paper, an orange, a candy bar, a carrot. What are you two up to? Stella asks, moaning as she tries to move her sore foot. How are you this morning? I ask. Just feeling my age, Stella says. I'm fine. Ivan is making me pictures, Ruby says. And he told me a joke. I really like Ivan, Aunt Stella. Stella winks at me. Me too, she says. Ivan, want to hear my favorite joke? Ruby asks. I heard it from Maggie. She was one of the giraffes in my old circus. Sure, I say. It goes like this. Ruby clears her throat. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Trunks, I think, but I don't answer because I don't want to ruin Ruby's fun. I don't know, Ruby, I reply. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Baby elephants, Ruby says. Good one, Ruby, I say, watching Stella stroke Ruby's back with her trunk. Good one, Stella says softly. Once I asked Stella if she'd ever had any babies. She shook her head. I never had the opportunity. You would have made a great mother, I told her. Thank you, Ivan, Stella said, clearly pleased. I like to think so. Having young ones is a big responsibility. You have to teach them how to take mud baths, of course, and emphasize the importance of fiber in their diet. She looked away, contemplating. Elephants are excellent at contemplating. I think the hardest part of being a parent, Stella added after a while, would be keeping your babies safe from harm, protecting them. The way silverbacks do in the jungle, I said. Exactly, Stella nodded. You would have been good at protecting too, I said confidently. I'm not so sure, Stella said, gazing at the iron bars surrounding her. I'm not sure at all. Mac and George are chatting while George cleans one of my windows. George, Mac says, frowning. There's something wrong with the parking lot. George sighs. I'll take a look as soon as I'm done with this window. What's the problem? There are cars in it. That's what's wrong. Cars, George. Mac breaks into a grin. I think things are actually starting to pick up a bit. It's got to be the billboard. People see that baby elephant and they just have to stop and spend their hard-earned cash. I hope so, George says. We sure could use the business. Mac's right. I have noticed more visitors coming since he and George added the picture of Ruby to the sign. People crowd around Ruby and Stella's domain, oohing and awing at the sight of such a tiny elephant. I gaze out at the huge sign that makes humans stop and spend their hard-earned cash. I have to admit that the picture of Ruby is rather cute, even if she doesn't look like a real elephant. I wonder if Mac could add a little red hat and curly tail to the picture of me. Maybe then more visitors would stop by my domain. I could use a few oohs and ahs myself. All right, so we are 1/3 of the way through the book. And I miss you guys. I wish we were reading in class. But I'm so happy that I can be here and at least read to you guys on YouTube. So message me on Class Dojo. Tell me how you guys are doing. Don't forget to look on Google Classroom. You can submit the Google form to tell me what you learned every day. And then there's a fun little quiz, not graded, just to see how well you're doing for the one and only Ivan. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm also going to do a couple math videos. Those are coming up soon. So keep an eye out for those also. Love you guys. Baby Grace also wanted to say hi. Say hi. We'll see you guys tomorrow.